Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Wednesday. Cheers. That's right. Cheers. It feels like we've hardly left the studio since Sunday.
It really does for me
yeah.
because I haven't worked the last few days and I've just been, editing videos and working on the show or
yeah, I know.
But I have been in this apartment drinking beer for 3 days straight.
Well, Pat, so I hadn't looked ahead on my calendar on Sunday.
Yeah.
And as we were bidding everyone a farewell, in the chat, people who were more on top of it than I am realized and wished you a happy birthday, which was this past Monday. So happy birthday, my friend. You are officially older than I am.
Thank you for all the good people who brought it up before Lila. Thank you, you guys. You guys are wonderful people. I appreciate your concern. And Lila, of course. I'm just kidding.
Seriously, Pat is one of my absolute closest friends. We talk several times every day, and I just it wasn't in my mind. So I'm embarrassed. I know you're joking, sort of, but happy birthday. Yeah. Cheers. May all your wishes come true.
Barely on my mind too. So we're good.
Well, luckily you had all those beers.
Yeah. And I was bragging to Lila. I'm like, I got so many beers left here for all our shows for a while because, I got all these birthday gift beers.
You're right.
And I'm like, 4 days off. And I might be running low on beer already.
I really get that.
So please like and subscribe and become a member.
Speaking of, we need you guys to like, subscribe, smash that notification bell. Good. I mean, I think we all need to do whatever we feel makes us a little happy in life these days. It is pretty crazy. Yeah. Oh, look at all these happy birthday
balloons
wishes, and then I'm seeing also first I just you should know this is Pat makes the graphics, and yes, they are hilarious.
Balloon drops, balloons still in my apartment,
and he even
hanging on for dear life.
I'm shocked that your cats haven't gotten rid of those.
I think you have to pop it, and they're gonna hate the pop. So she probably did once,
and then she learned.
I was like, no, fuck that.
You know what? The next time she pees on you, pop a balloon in her head. That is how she will.
That is a great idea, but also 2 weeks pee free right here. Hello, let's go.
Maybe it was the balloon that did it. That one popping.
I don't know.
Thank you. The run.
It was obviously the automatic litter box.
Yes,
it's a game changer.
You should get a sponsorship for the show.
Yeah, I should.
Thank you. That is so kind of you guys, the runs and Devin. And now come the birthday wishes. Birthday.
Right. Cheers. Thank you.
But the days all seem to run together. Yeah, Audrey, I understand that. God, I look at my kids sometimes and I think feels like yesterday was, 2008, like when we talk about Obama. And then I look at my kids and I'm like, wow, no, that's 2 whole lifetimes. It's just so crazy. They all run together as you get a little older. Happy birthday, Spanking Tunnel. Happy birthday. Just want everyone to know.
All right. Thank you.
Moving
on.
Birthday, Pat.
Let's get to the show.
All right,
I'll play a puppets video right now. I don't care.
No, God, it's those darn puppets videos. So the other thing, and Stephanie, I think, wrote on our YouTube page yesterday because we had 2 of our shows taken down, blocked because of copyrighted videos on there. One was the Olympics opening that we went out on, the revolutionary Marie Antoinette bit.
We kind of figured we'd get tagged on that, but we put it at the end of the show so we could just do an easy edit at least.
Right. But they wouldn't even give us the opportunity. Like, we appealed and we said fair use because we're talking about how you can discuss the French Revolution and guillotines in France in the opening ceremonies of the worldwide Olympic celebration. I couldn't even make a passing reference to it in a tweet, but they didn't accept that. And then they just blocked it. So we had to re-edit it and then put it back up. And the same with our shit show from a few weeks ago with Steven Semler. They got us on another silly video that used music or something. Oh no, it was the wildlife conservatory.
Yeah. And we need to look into this a little more, but somebody said if it's under 30 seconds, that's 30 seconds is the trigger. So like if I clip any segments of animal stuff or something, I'm going to make sure we'll test it. We'll find out. We'll find out.
Anyway, so, I feel a little bad because obviously we had several hundred people watching both of those, but they had to be taken down. And so now they've been re-upped onto YouTube looking like new videos, but they are just the reissuing of past videos, which are still, I hope everybody goes back and watches, but that's nobody missed a live show. We would have told you.
And just like a strike on your record at the DMV, we can go to copyright school to have, this is our first like real strike. We've had like, you have to take it down or you're going to get a strike kind of thing. But this is like, no, it's a strike. Are you going to go to copyright school? And you can go to copyright school.
That's going to be a YJ. That's a YJ. Yeah. That's going to be a you job.
I'm going to do the automatic mouse movement thing. Somebody send me the app that makes it look like I'm there.
Just drinking one hand and like looking something. Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna live stream it.
Fun. Exactly. Thank you. 20 Punch Up Pod memberships. Cheers. 10 and 10. Thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. And I'm always nervous and want to make sure that you know that it was twice, just in case you didn't have a heavy finger and by accident did it twice. But thank you. That is really generous and kind. Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Absolutely. And that brings us to our thank you to all of our pup heroes and sheroes, all of our members. You guys are amazing. We thank you. Thank you so much. Really, it means a ton to us. So thank you. All right, Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we should get to cheers. So this isn't current story or anything, but we just saw this and thought
nothing cheerful about any current story, so we had
to go years back to find something positive. But this is the first good use of AI I've seen, and I respect teachers being creative and original, and this kind of was heartwarming. So let's start off pretending we have hearts.
Yeah.
And what their future lives, successful lives will be.
You didn't set this up. So they told their teacher what they want to be in the future. And she made AI images of them in the future as adults in their chosen profession. I love how excited they get.
A footballer.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That was a good find. Yeah, that does, boy, yeah, I'm about to get all negative right now because I just can't believe what we're doing to our children. But that is beautiful. I love that teacher. And yes, those children, oh my God, for them to visualize what they say they want to do and look at.
Lila? Did we lose Lila? Or am I
love it. I froze.
You're frozen already.
Shut up. I see myself. Am I really frozen?
Oh, you're frozen on my end, but that's all right. Regardless, you're back.
I'm back.
And we can start out with the hashtag intro and get the show going anyway.
Let's do it. All right. So much for the good, heartwarming stuff. We're now getting into all the crummy, awful stuff.
It's crummy and awful, but I do feel like this is the entertaining part because that's all we have. Is, yeah, the circus. Because we might as well laugh as we cry. So this part.
Yeah. So
weirdos and whites.
And I am, I know everybody says it's for different reasons. Probably it's because I drink so much wine, but I am a mosquito magnet and there's one flying around. So if you see me going crazy, I'm not talking to myself. I'm trying to get the mosquito. Weirdos. When you don't want to run on policy. Okay. We're about to show what happened, right? So I think Tim Walz was on MSNBC or CNN, and I will say he actually does run on policy. I think he's great. I think there's free universal breakfast and lunch for school children. There's I'm going to forget now a bunch of different, I think is there universal childcare in Minnesota. He's governor of Minnesota, using their divided House or Congress, state Congress but with just enough Democrats actually to pass great policies. Fantastic. So he talks about those. And as we showed on Sunday, somebody, said, well, that sounds kind of like socialism. He's like, you can call it whatever you want, but it's what we do because children need to eat. They'll learn better. And, he's just doesn't deal with any of that. When he says that JD Vance is weird, it makes sense because JD Vance is weird. He said a lot of weird things and we will show them. But that wasn't a substitution, at least by my thought, with Tim Walz. It was not a substitution for addressing actual policies that could bring material change, right?
Right. But now that's the whole platform. Kamala's whole platform right now is he's weird. And I just got to add, to go from they're fascist to they're weird. You're taking the urgency down a notch. I mean, it's not a good strategy.
I half agree. And I hated the thing that this is existential, that this is an existential threat. And yet we're going to offer nothing up to combat it. Right. And also I don't think that it's more of an existential threat than any other Republican or half of the Democrats. So I didn't like that part of it anyway. And I think it started to ring hollow when people could see that Democrats were resigned to lose. A month ago we were told too late. We're just going to let Biden lose to him and we'll try again in 2020. Right. So but anyway, let's show this compilation because it's pretty striking. And then we can come back on the other side.
All right. Because I want to get into why it's a bad strategy.
All right. I mean, I agree with you, but I didn't like the existential
you could be wrong.
one either.
You're allowed to be wrong.
All right, here we go. Get ready.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
These guys are just weird. That's who they are.
As weird and creepy as JD Vance.
Super weird idea from JD Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. They're just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
That stuff is weird. They come across weird, and then they start being weird. Yeah, they're weird.
Being a really weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate, they're weird. Deeply and profoundly weird.
They are weird.
These Republicans just being weird, it's just weird. It's really weird.
Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
He said a lot of things that are weird, a weird style that he brings, weird policies. Let's start with the weird thing, because it is a thing.
Just plain weird.
What was weird was talking about Diet Mountain Dew. Who drinks Diet Mountain Dew?
You ever seen the guy laugh? That seems very weird to me that that an adult can go through 6.5 years of being in the public eye. If he has laughed, it's at someone, not with someone. That is weird behavior.
Weird and cultish.
These are weird people on the other side.
He kind of doubled down on his weird ideas.
I think weird is probably generous.
Simply weird. These guys are just plain weird.
Vance as weird?
You know, as the campaign said, weird.
It really is just plain weird.
JD Vance, plain weird.
No,
I mean, I don't know how else you could read it.
Weird. It is kind of weird.
We're not afraid of weird people.
The other side, they're just weird.
Why are you being so weird?
Vance has done something more extreme, more weird.
No matter what kind of weird stuff they keep saying.
Trump and Vance are just weird, in addition to being dangerous to democracy.
It's the weird part that's the most engaging.
Whom he addressed as my beautiful Christians, which was super weird.
Weird tech bro, J.D. Vance.
He's a weird guy.
JD Vance, uneasy and sort of weird. Frankly, for lack of a better word, that he's weird.
Sarcastic remarks that aren't even funny, and he kind of shows that he can't really deliver a one-liner.
So, Sam, weird is the word here in terms of initial impressions from Vance to the American public.
Okay, I think that Grabian is a right-wing gross thing. So it's just the only way you can, So I hate it. I totally hate it. But I didn't like the existential threat either. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Okay. So look, first off, I want to point out that half the people in that clip that we showed were the media.
Yeah.
Like these were not, so the Democrats actually have a stated strategy. They released it saying they're going to label these guys as weird. It's a Democratic strategy.
Right.
And so when you get all these pundits and actual reporters on air personalities,
Journalists,
pushing the weird thing themselves, asked to do it, unprovoked. They're like, is that weird? So this is but this just opens up the door.
Told to do it. Yeah. I know
but this opens up the door for the right to be even grosser and use the weird thing to where's that image I showed?
No, it's horrible. I know the trans thing. I mean,
the trans, but this is where this leads to.
Yeah.
This leads to stuff like this. The marginalized people on the left that are already labeled weird are now going to be the focal point even more of what's weird.
And also, it is. And I mean, this is part of what you're saying, but weird is a lot of us. A lot of us are weird, offbeat, a little kooky, a little bohemian, different, whatever. We're supposed to think, we're supposed to encourage people not to be fucking Nazis who do everything that, the corporations tell them to do. Clearly, that's not what the Dems are anymore. But also, there is just no substance. None.
There's no substance. If you're on the right and you just called me weird, that's not. Yeah. It only makes people bunker down to their positions, right? So I guess you could appeal to independents trying to decide, maybe that psychologically, you're being I saw somebody saying we're finally going low and we're going to win because of it.
You're going low.
We're going low.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, so it started, I guess, because somebody made up a rumor that JD Vance, so it started because of JD Vance talking about, somebody started a rumor that was amplified by bigger accounts, and then it's been debunked, but that he had sex with a couch when he was a kid, and that he wrote about it in Hillbilly Elegy, which does not exist in Hillbilly Elegy.
It's hilarious. I love him being labeled a couch fucker. I think it's funny until you build your campaign around this stuff. I
mean, right. Okay. So first of all, that might be, I'm sorry, but the least weird thing that a young boy does. And also, by the way, a young girl, what we're really going to, that's where we're going to shame people. Then they talk about the diet Mountain Dew thing where he was like, they're going to tell me that I'm racist for drinking diet Mountain Dew. Well, first of all, no, they're not. And you are racist. And like let's actually talk about his policies, or talking about like the cat ladies who don't have children and so they have no investment in the future. When, you know, like George W. Bush, when he was asked about the climate, he was like, I don't know, I'm not going to be around then. I mean, there are plenty of people who have kids and grandkids. Does that mean that anybody who's old, who's about to pass away, shouldn't be able to vote because they have no, you know, like they have no stake really in the future? Also, he lobbed, or not lobbed, but pulled in Pete Buttigieg to that, which is disgusting, because as much as I hate Pete Buttigieg, he has 2 kids. So like, what are you, like, now if you adopt, you're not a real parent? Like, there are so many things you could talk about where it's like, it's not weird, he's just evil, and he's trying to like embrace this MAGA culture.
This is where the media deserves all the mistrust they get from the right. And so when you validate the mistrust, I want to show the Fox clip. It's related to this. It's kind of has some overlap, but like, I think it's important to see how they look at this on the right. This is exactly it right here.
They're accusing JD Vance of having sex with a couch. Not on a couch, with a couch. It's a weird thing to do. And now they're calling him weird.
I don't think Kamala Harris is going to pick anyone as weird and creepy as JD Vance.
Frankly, JD Vance, just dumb Vance, is pretty weird.
It's not just a weird style that he brings. It's that this leads to weird policies.
They're just weird.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate.
More extreme, more weird, more erratic.
The agenda, the way they talk to people, the way they address people, it is bizarre. It's weird. It is weird.
Well, it's just plain weird. I mean, that's the box you put that in, right?
Democrats made up a story about JD Vance having sex with a couch and called him weird 150 times this weekend.
Yeah, it's awful. And it does feel very like Trumpian. I mean, that's what it just really feels like. Trump does stuff like that. Make fun of people, don't talk about policy. And again, you know, I will forever be sad about the hope I had with Bernie 4 years ago and 8 years ago. And I know we've all moved on. I always feel like I have to put that qualifier in there. But like, I think about how he never did that. It was always policy. Yeah, I think Donald Trump is a dangerous or whatever, but it's because of the border. Like, let's get into the policies, because here's the problem is, what is she running on? We know what her policies, what she pretended her policies were in 2019, because she wanted to, you know, remember everybody, there were 23 of them, and 22 of them were just as progressive as Bernie, but younger.
2020 was like, hey, I'm Bernie, but I'm better because this. I'm the black woman Bernie. Yeah. She was pulling that card for a while. Medicare for all. She was Medicare for all. All in on that.
All in on that. Ban fracking. Now she's saying that there's no light. Yeah. Republicans are digging up the progressive statements Kamala made during her 2020 presidential campaign as they aim to define her as a left-wing radical who is out of step with swing voters. Which is also like, first of all of those policies that she pretended to have, the reason she pretended to have them is because they were
with swing voters. Completely in step.
Yeah.
But now she's going to run on this campaign of not being in step with popular policies.
I mean, honestly, it's hard not to think they are just trying to lose. Like, so she's
and Trump. It's
I mean, both. Yeah, it's like nobody wants. They're like, not it. You can deal with this whole mess of a country and a world. Yeah, she's already distancing herself from. She's no longer supports Medicare for all. I mean, we all knew that anyway. Also says she won't ban fracking. She wants to increase funding for the border and doesn't want to require people to sell their assault weapons back to the government. Okay. Why should somebody like? What's just vibes? It's just coconut vibes.
She's going to be different on Palestine. Oops. Wait a minute. Yikes.
Today, I had a frank and constructive meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu about a wide range of issues, including my commitment to Israel's security, the importance of addressing the humanitarian crisis in Gaza that just happened randomly out of the blue, I guess, and the urgent need to get the ceasefire and hostage deal done. Would love if someone in a place of power talked about the thousands of Palestinian hostages that Israel's been keeping and abusing for decades, but nobody ever talks about that. And the thing that's really interesting is everyone knows, like, here's Jennifer Rubin, racist, former Republican, never Trumper, Jen Rubin. So far, she's been pitch perfect. Thorough condemnation of protesters celebrating Hamas and burning American flag. No policy difference with Biden, but a more empathetic expression for innocent Palestinians. Well done.
Yeah, that's
the whole deal.
A bigger reason not to vote for her, because if you portray empathy and keep the same policy going, and more people believe you're going to be better for Palestinians, but you're not going to be a drop better, like, get the coconut out of your name if you are protesting Palestine. I mean, Israel's war with Palestine. I mean, it's absurd. And so this is actually correct. I want to give them props for at least stating how Kamala could win. Like, it's going to be this race is a coin flip, but if she wanted to win, she would flip on the Israel war. She would support Palestine. But she's not.
Mean,
No way. She's probably picking Shapiro.
Yeah, which we'll get into in a second. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
But like you said, won't ban fracking.
Yeah, not ban fracking, not do anything that people have been begging for. Like, again, saying we're going to get that border bill done, which was to the right of most Republicans. Honestly, they said we're never going to get this done with a Republican in power. We could only get it done with a Democrat in power. And then Trump killed it because he didn't want a Republican win under Biden, right? So that's why he told all of his people, don't vote for it. But now she's going to use that again. That's going to be her border policy.
And this is the problem without a primary. When you just elect somebody like this, there's no primary, there's no pressure to pretend you're on the left. And so you're just the corporation, the oligarchy, whatever you want to call it, is stoked on this idea that nobody has to appeal to the peons. Yep. They just go right to, like, tough border policy, tough on crime, tough. Like, so everyone has to pick which one of these fuckers you hate more.
Well, she's just fun. I mean, honestly, what Democrats did by elevating Trump and making him, the Pied Piper, that at least we look good compared to him, they've now done for Kamala versus Biden. It's like, wow, she can read off a teleprompter. Look at that. And they just feel good about it. She's young.
Biden couldn't have lowered the bar any further for Democrats.
I mean,
impossible.
In the basement. And by the way, I mean, we haven't even gotten to Israel. We'll get to all that. But, like, the world is falling apart. Where in the almighty fuck is the president of the United States? Not that I care. I know he's the one who's funding all of this. They're, either they sanctioned these assassinations or, like, explicitly, or they've just, like, they don't care. They're just giving it. Whatever it is, we don't have a leader. None of this matters. She's not really saying anything except Israel has a right to protect itself. I mean,
here's a clip of her stating the only policy issue we've really gotten from her yet, right here.
So here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump killed, and I will sign it into law and show Donald Trump what real leadership looks like.
And that's the ratchet effect. You've got a crowd, and she is attracting crowds, a crowd of Democrats cheering on a fascist border bill.
I just want to put a little timeout and asterisk on your attracting crowds thing. They're doing, I mean, Trump does the same thing, I guess, but they're bringing in media. They're making them concerts and making them.
I totally agree. But, like, what's his face? Biden couldn't even fill up a high school gym.
Right.
So, like, and I do think that people are actually excited. I think there is a group of people that's excited about her.
They are for sure.
Which is repulsive.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but I think it's interesting that a lot of people that know Kamala are not excited. And that's a lot of people in my real life in California.
I mean,
So
I'm sorry. I
it's,
hope you're right. I know you said it about your mom, but I need more than just your mom.
You don't need anecdotal familiar reports.
I need to know. All right. Well, let's take a look.
No.
Let's take a look at the. Oh, sorry.
The
Were you going to say something? Yeah.
No. We got the polling. Let's look at the polling.
It's not that I don't trust your mom, but let's look. Okay, so this was highly touted. Yeah, Morning. Go ahead.
Here it is. This is the Morning Consult, the most favorable poll out there, probably for Kamala.
In the swing states. Okay. So they, obviously the red is Republican. It's very small, but red Republican, blue Democrat. Yes. Here come the readers. And she's tied, she's within the margin of error, but so is Trump on most of these, but at least it's not as dire looking as it was with Biden just a couple of weeks ago. So this has been flung all over corporate media. Isn't this amazing? She's changing swing states. Yeah. Then, do you want to say something about it before we switch to the real clear politics?
Well, I just want to say that a big part of this, look, people on the left know Kamala from the primaries and they picked sides, and the left hated her in the primaries, right? But the general public now, 4 years later, doesn't know anything about Kamala. They just know that she's not Biden. And so she's getting a bump from sort of this newness, even though it's just not Biden. People are stoked it's not Biden. But we're going to fall back and we'll get back to her negatives being promoted heavily. And that's where this is all going to get back to Trump being ahead most of the way.
And having to answer questions in an interview, even a softball interview. Like, she failed on a Colbert Report, right? Like, that was a softball. He's like smiling and trying to be nice. Like, I don't know. I mean, they have really screwed everybody up because there's been no primary. Nobody knows anything about her, and she's horrible.
Right. And so my point is, at best, you might be able to maintain where people are at right now with this whole situation. Because if you're voting for Trump already, you're not going to switch. So you got the independents, you might switch some independents, but she's at her peak now when people are like anyone but Trump.
Right.
And then that's only going to go down most likely. Like, even with all the enthusiasm around her, the more you learn, the more she speaks, she's got the Hillary effect. People dislike her tremendously, and they can try to hide all that stuff from the public, but you can't really run a campaign from behind and not be in the public eye more and expose yourself, which is, they're going to try to do that. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, and then Bernie got railed for saying she won't, he phrased it poorly. He kind of stuttered over his words and they called him sexist. He was like, in my mind, she won't win the presidency if she doesn't address economic issues. And then they were like, oh, he's such a sexist. He just cannot. Meanwhile, he said the same thing about Biden 6 months ago, unless he addressed, but there's no policy. The border policy, is that it? That's her only policy that she's talking about. And then freedom. But anyway, just so we know those really, positive poll numbers for her in the swing states. This is really small, but basically this is the aggregate of the
average,
right?
Of the polls.
The real clear polling. So what they show is the Morning Consult is the one, so Arizona Morning Consult says Harris is up by 2, 49 to Trump 47. But when you average all of like the, high polls, the well-respected polls, actually Trump is up by 4.2. Georgia has them tied in the Morning Consult, but the real clear politic average of all the polls has Trump up by 3.6. Michigan, Harris up by 11. And in real politics, it's 2.
But that's the only state. Michigan is the only state of the swing states where she is now ahead for the average of polling. And please always, if you're going to trust polls, RCP just takes all the polls,
Right.
plots them on a map, and says, where do all these polls think people are? So it's the fairest you could ever look at. And you can check that at any time on RCP.
Right.
I used to post them all the time. But so the only state she's in is in Michigan. And now if you name Ben Shapiro, I mean, not Ben Shapiro, I keep saying Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, Josh Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro. If Josh Shapiro becomes her VP, that is going to kill it, because,
that's where the abandoned Biden started, and uncommitted was in Michigan. So
it has a huge population of
Muslim
Palestinian
Americans, Arab
and
Americans,
Muslim Americans. And like you said, that's where they started the
abandoned
what do they
Biden.
call it? Abandoned Biden campaign, if he didn't change his policy. And so there you've got these people hopeful about, a lot of these polls reflect young people saying believing that she's going to be better on Palestine somehow. And as that gets exposed, if she's not better on Palestine, she's going to get hammered by all the people with coconuts. A lot of people with coconuts in their profile right now.
I don't think I still don't think that she'll win, but the people who are okay with her now, they probably would have voted for Biden anyway.
Yeah, no, a lot of them they just want to feel like they're the good person again. And this gives them that good person. It's a black woman, even if their policies are exactly the same, rich old white guy, black woman.
Right.
I mean, you can justify voting for a Democrat. And even, I'm never going to do it, but I understand people who decide to vote Democrat. But just shut the fuck up about Palestine. If you're going to, don't cheerlead her, hammer her until you cast your vote. Until you cast your vote, hammer her if you're that kind of person.
And as you said, she's been protected from having to justify any part of her platform, which people are just learning what her platform is now anyway. And, again, you cannot be her main executive experience, government experience that signals she might be ready, qualified. They love to say qualified because of Hillary, for the highest office in the world, is that she has served as Joe Biden's VP for the last 3.5 years. So she either has to say, I'm on board with what he did, I own this record, and I'm proud of it because that's my only executive experience. Or she has to say, I really didn't want any of that, but I have no agency, no integrity, and I never spoke up about any of it.
Obviously she's going to cherry pick both those things and select which policies she wants. I mean, all of her representatives out there now are saying, well, you'll hear from her soon. I don't want to say where she stands on that. You're going to hear from her soon. Let's give her a breath and let her pick where she stands on this stuff. And it's like, no, we should know where you stand now. These should not be politically driven, poll driven decisions. And then, so she's going to run on, her record as a prosecutor, as a positive, all the things the left hated about her. She's going to run as look, the left hates me because I'm so tough on crime.
And they let the Republicans frame her once again. No, I am not. I'm not. They say, oh, she's running from all of her leftist policies that aren't popular. And it's each part of that is wrong. They are popular, even in the Rust Belt. We know that. Even at Fox, for Fox viewers, we know that. And she's not, they never were her policies. They're giving her,
she's a communist.
She doesn't deserve. She's a big communist with great policies for the working class. All right.
We are all KHAV now. Somebody said that.
Oh my God.
That was on Twitter for a while. It's like, oh my God.
Was that a joke or for real?
No, it's going to trend. I mean, look, since we're talking about that real quick, well, we might as well get into the whites for Kamala and
let's the branding, because all of it's just branding. So here we go.
This entire campaign is vibes and branding.
it's marketing. It's just all one big, and they did that in 2019. They thought it was going to be her and Beto O'Rourke. Those were the new Obamas, right? They were on the cover of Vanity Fair and all, like just looking cool and hot and hip. And then they did the Pete Buttigieg thing. And then as soon as these people are exposed, they become very unpopular. Okay, so yeah, white women for Karens for Kamala.
Oh, yeah, where are the Karens? Show me the Karens.
Well, this is one snippet of it. And if this doesn't convince you, so the idea was we can't just let Black women, people always say, oh, Black women will save us. This was the idea. We can't just let it fall on Black women. We have to organize also. But we need to be careful with how we deal with our Black sisters. Basically, that is what this snippet is. And ooh, boy.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle, to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am like shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too. So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat.
Oh my God.
And instead we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
Don't correct them? Like, what are you talking about?
Look, on some level, I have some empathy, because like those are kind of the right things to say in a way. It's like, it's from the book of Karens, how to not be a Karen kind of thing. Like, I get it. Like, they're saying, she's trying to say, look, you're going to come across as racist and uninformed and talk to a Black person. But instead it's sort of like, just let's get our white Karens around. And when one of us is out of line, we'll talk ourselves down and be a little support group. And it just shows like she does not know many Black people.
Well,
like
exactly. It is so segregated, right? It's so like balkanized. And this is how we talk to our Black friends. Don't correct them.
Right.
We'll talk about it in private later.
We'll talk about what they said
really
later.
Fucking condescending. And also, as you said, so illustrative that they do not know people of other races or income levels. Like, it's a very, like, I don't know everybody who was on that call, but like, I bet there wasn't a bunch of working class, union organizers or something.
Well, look, if you're going to have this white person group, white women for, Karens for Kamala, basically, have some Black people there, like directing it, like, hey, here's some advice from Black people. Not you're listening to the white lady giving white people advice. It feels very like
it's like, who is that woman?
Like,
the white woman who wrote the first like white fragility thing or whatever.
I have no. You are so much more well read than I do.
I didn't read that bullshit, but I heard about it. Yeah.
More importantly, this segmenting of things has led to stuff like this. Hose for Harris.
That I can get behind.
I mean, Hose for Harris.
Kinda
What
cool.
else? Oh, the song. What was the song? I don't know. There's
Well, I mean,
Hotties for Harris was trending.
What
I
was
think.
it? Oh, Hotties for Harris.
Hotties, and that was from a black rapper who said something in the.
I mean, listen, I'm being persnickety here because again, I just want to hear policy. Like, I don't mind. I thought it was really fun when at Bernie rallies they had like, Public Enemy or Rage Against the Machine or Killer About. Like, that was fun. I liked it, but like it felt organic and it was based on policies. They could talk about policies. If you had the people who were there, your oh my God, you're not substitutes, but you're the people who surrogates. Thank you. If you had your surrogates there, they could say like, a living wage, Green New Deal, Medicare for all, legalize weed, criminal justice. Like they could list off the policies. Not say don't correct Black people when you're talking to them or BIPOCs. Fuck.
Right.
Because
and you couldn't.
Yeah.
Well, you couldn't go to a Bernie rally without hearing from 10 activists you knew nothing about, and he was elevating the activists, and he got the street voice out there to people to hear what people were feeling. He would have every marginalized group possible speak at every event.
Yeah,
and this Kamala stuff is
town halls, just like handing the microphone over to people. Tell us your story. Like this is like producing a movie, and this is the marketing period. Right now, it's all just about how are we marketing this event.
That's it. And but that's exactly why she's at her peak, because the reviews are going to come in about 2-3 weeks. Well, we watched her movie. We watched a documentary on Kamala's life, and it's a no for me, dog. And we're stuck with it because they're going to force her down our throat.
It's a thumbs down. Even her father distanced himself from her. Her Marxist father at one point. Okay, but so we're not satisfied just with the Karens for Kamala. We also have the white men for Kamala. Let's do our part.
Again.
I mean, like there's a part of me that's like, yeah, everybody get on board. I hate the thing where white people say, oh, Black women are going to save us, or Black women saved us again, or listen to Black women for so many different reasons. I find it really offensive because obviously there are plenty of Black women who do not speak for most of us, right? Like Kamala or, Stacey, what's her face down in Georgia.
It's such the white savior bullshit.
It's so gross.
It reeks. It's so painfully bad. It's like, it's just PR fluff. They're not talking policies. They're like, it's like helping someone in the Special Olympics to these people. Like let's get this. Black people deserve something. Yeah. Like
it's like
hey, let's get out there for the Black people.
Blind side campaign.
Yeah. It's just awkward as fuck. And it just, look, these groups are not organic. Thinking any of this stuff's organic? It's not organic. It's all calculated. They're running, this is their PR campaign to have white people. It's like I get it. You want to counter the MAGA, like, hey, you got white people who like her. But look, by default, we're not racist over here on the left. Like, we don't need to have this rare group of white people who are going to come together to fight for her.
Yeah. And to convince
we don't like her policy.
Convince white people that and again, this is why, because they are not going after the left. They don't give a shit about any left policies, any working class issues, anybody on the left. They don't care about any of us. They care about that small segment of Mitt Romney suburban mom voters that will go back and forth depending on which person is more likely to win and respond to their bribes and be better for their taxes. And those people are fucking racist, and all they really care about is money. And so what you really do need to do is convince them, as Joe Biden said, nothing will fundamentally change. It's fine. Just go ahead, hold your nose, and vote for a Black woman, you racist.
Right.
But, yeah.
Exactly. And just that they have to be, that they themselves are like, we have to get a group of white people together because we got to show that white people support this stuff. Like it just shows that they don't think as highly of her as
what would they be
supposed to be thought of,
right?
Like,
exactly. What would
right,
they be like?
like-
What could they talk about? What can they talk about? All she is a meme. All she's like, the Biden with the sunglasses walking, doing the walk and talk with Obama. She is that little girl was me, the silhouette of her with her high heels and her pantsuit, and then the little black girl in front of her. And that's her whole thing. It's just a marketing t-shirt. That's who she is.
But that was a debate. That was a debate. Like she got caught. Like, why aren't you fighting for any of those things you said in the debate? And now you're just letting Joe Biden have a pass. Well, that was a debate. I said some shit.
Yeah, talk to me in 4 years. I didn't believe any of that shit. When I run again, I'm leaving all that behind. Doesn't matter. None of it matters.
So here's the white dudes.
Oh my God. 4 million.
More to come. Can't wait to hear more from the white dudes. Matt Walsh. Okay. Listen to this guy.
Yeah. So this really opens the door up for far-right fascists, right? Republicans need to stop being shy about appealing directly to white men. Have they ever been shy? Isn't that their whole appeal? Like, honestly, what the fuck? White men are the forgotten voters. This whole Kamala campaign is to appeal to the white man. Like, what are you talking about? But they're
running this campaign that the right is going to lean in and target that margin they're going for. Just like the weirdo thing, they're going to label weirdos on the left even harder.
Yep.
Because you're calling us weird. Well, you're fucking weird. So look at these LGBTQ plus people. They're the worst people in the world. That's as weird as it gets.
Yeah. You think fucking a couch is weird? Like, yeah, they're gonna. Yeah.
That's what we get as a result of this policy-free fucking platform.
Richard Spencer. Are we going to say Richard Spencer, white supremacist extraordinaire?
Top neo-Nazi.
Are we going to see an official white dudes for Trump Zoom call anytime soon? No, we wouldn't see that in a million years. The Harris campaign has taken the initial step of acknowledging white men, if yes, in a pretty cringe way. The American right assumes white men in their ranks, but is ultimately embarrassed by them, constantly seeking out Black and Hispanic men. It is so funny that white men feel aggrieved by their Republican Party. The GOP, in fact, seems equally embarrassed by white women. The liberals are ready to take the next step in identity politics. Well done. Border bill, racist, segregated, political calls.
Yeah, you made Richard Spencer have some points.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he's right, but like,
make Richard Spencer
what
right
are you
again.
doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is it. Well, unfortunately, should we move on, or I don't know?
I just wanted to see if we had any other.
I just wanted to say on this note, UAW, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Trash.
Shame on
Total
you.
trash.
Shame on you. Fuck off. If you want to endorse her like 2 days before the vote, go ahead. But what are you pushing for now?
I thought they want a ceasefire.
Nothing.
Yeah. Where's the ceasefire?
Nothing.
And then also, just because we all talk about rightfully, and he should never live it down, never be called the labor president or Union Joe or whatever for crushing the railroad strike, which she was part of that administration, of an administration that crushed a rail workers strike. That would have been the biggest strike in our nation that had been, and again, like, just, I know we all know this, but like, you don't decide to strike and then a week later strike. That had been in process for, I think, 3 years. You have to go through votes and meetings and, like, it is a long-term project that when it finally comes down to it, that is your last resort. And that's where workers have the power, and Biden crushed it. But guess what? He did it again last week, or July 24th. New Jersey Transit engineers, their strike was averted. Doesn't that sound nice? Thank goodness Joe Biden swept in and averted it.
Hero.
Because, Biden took emergency action. Again, that means he prevented them from striking, like Reagan. He agreed to assemble a presidential emergency board averting a strike for now of New Jersey Transit's locomotive engineers. The Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen Union had signs printed in preparation for walking off the job. They've been in national mediation for 3 years. bargaining over a new contract for the engineers that expired in 2019. Thank goodness that was averted. I wonder if there were another way it could have been averted. Could he have used his bully pulpit to tell the CEOs to pay their friggin' workers? That could have averted a strike too.
This is the problem with Democrats. This is the problem with believing in them. This is the problem when you run a PR campaign on vibes and shit, you know. So California, we got Newsom out here. So Democrats are out here attacking the Supreme Court decisions left and right. Like, oh, this is why you got to vote for us for the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And Supreme Court rules that it's okay to criminalize homelessness, basically. And Newsom is like, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. We've had enough time with this. No more excuses, leaning into this fucking decision. And so, look, Newsom isn't going to be on the ticket this time around. I mean,
but this is the ethos of Democrats. Like we went.
Yes, he's the future of the Democratic Party right now, leaning into Supreme Court decisions, criminalizing homelessness. And this is why it matters that we don't just fucking get on board with Kamala. You have to draw a line and say genocide is fucked, whether it's Palestine, COVID, criminalizing homelessness, all this stuff is not okay. I can't vote for that. Yeah. I will at least, even if I'm going to vote for that, I will fight until the fucking day I cast my ballot to get her to change this policy to get my vote.
But we don't even know her policies. Except that she's announced she won't ban fracking anymore, even though, and we're in talks with a couple of different climate scientists to have a deep dive Sunday shit show on the climate, because we haven't covered it in such a long time and it's not good. It's not good, folks. But she's not going to ban fracking. It doesn't play well in Pennsylvania. Well, we have, how many years do people need to know that the actual existential threat are your big oil friends and fracking? And we've known about that for decades. What is the plan here, folks? Just drill, baby, drill. That's it.
She's out there. So my takeaways, it was she had two in her speech. She had two things she focused on. She's going to pass the border bill that was racist as fuck, the worst ever, even though Biden's already deported the most people of any president. So she's going to go harder than Biden.
That's a promise.
Right? Yeah. And then on top of that, what were we just talking about with the drilling? She's not going to stop fracking, right? So the climate change is an existential threat to the humanity, literally, but she's not going to do anything about that. So she's running right on oil and climate change, basically. That's what you're telegraphing to everybody. So how do you vote for that? There's no opposition to anything corporate at all anymore.
It really is just, do you prefer your weird like Trump or like Kamala? Do you want cackling Kamala or, yeah.
Well,
there's not a big choice.
This is what we're facing. We're getting a lot of this stuff. Can't believe she's so fucking amazing. And all these people lied to us that she was bad at politics. This is from her reading a teleprompter once.
Well,
that was once. She hadn't even had, maybe she had 2 teleprompter speeches, but she hasn't been, there's no interviews. Like, they're just embracing this thing like, oh, new improved Kamala. New improved. Like, she was so naive back then.
Get out there and twerk. Yeah.
But even if she picks a shitty VP, please consider your response carefully. Unity is vital and second guessing will be unhelpful.
Gross. You know what? We still have a little bit more, but I am seeing people needing a little bit of a break. Should we spin and then get back to a couple of the VP things and Trump stuff?
I'm all for that.
All for that. Okay, good.
Always.
Here we go. All right.
Yeah, baby.
You're gonna land on shot. This is how you roll.
That's how I roll. All right.
I don't even have my booze here. Oh my God. Spin again while I grab my booze.
All right. I'm closing and I'm going to spin again. 1 second. That's not very loud. I don't know why it's so.
Yeah, baby.
I knew it. I was going to have to pour a big one. All right. 1 second. One more. All right, close.
We'll get some real commentary here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, let's go.
I know I've been holding back.
Yeah, baby.
No way. Okay. I'm gonna.
Lila, you're amazing.
Okay, wait a second. I have wires and everything all around me. Okay. All right. Oh God, it's gonna be a big one. Here I go.
Yeah, baby.
I can.
4. You're at 4.
Oh my God, I need 2 more. All right, I'm removing 1 because this is ridiculous. We have to land on something else.
How do you get 4 shots?
Baby.
I don't know. But take me to Vegas, baby. Oh, I okay. All right. Cheers. I'm leaving that one on though, right?
Yeah. Leave it there. Let's roll some Olympics.
Okay, Grandpa.
Oh my God, this is gonna get us back at there. No, music. It's killing me.
What happened to our video?
Did we just get ended? Did they just end us?
No, they didn't end us for that, did they?
I don't know. Are we still here? Did y'all see us?
I don't know why that video froze.
I'll be editing that, editing out the.
Was that a real song or something?
Yeah. Hello.
Was it?
Yeah. All right. It's fine. It was very cute though. That was very cute.
It wasn't even that cute. It wasn't worth it. Wasn't worth it. Puppets are dead. We're done with puppets.
We're gonna have to spend hours editing that tomorrow. Lila's gonna have to spend hours editing that tomorrow, but that's a sacrifice Pat's willing to make. No,
I'm joking.
I'm totally joking. All right, so let's just take a look at our VP race. These are the people they've put out there. Although this was from a week ago, it seems like it's gotten narrowed down quite a bit. Josh Shapiro does still seem to be the favorite. This again,
is like from a week or 2 ago.
Yeah,
so this is probably July 22nd.
Yeah. But she did just announce that next week, Tuesday, she will be having her first rally with a running mate in Philadelphia, which is, of course, making people think that probably it's Shapiro, which is the, for the people on the left, it's the least favorite choice for many different reasons, but specifically because he is
Palestine,
very pro-Zionist. He compared, students protesting to the KKK. He has been a proponent of anti-BDS legislation. He tried to. What did he do with the?
He went after Ben and Jerry.
Yeah, attacked them because they wanted to stop selling their ice cream in the West Bank settlements.
And it was just the illegal settlements, like the clearly illegal settlements. It was narrowly focused to where, like, we're still selling ice cream to Israel. We're still selling ice cream in the West Bank, just the illegal settlement parts of this stuff. Although it's all illegal settlements, really. I mean, but like they were just focused on that one little area, and he wanted legislation to go after them.
And just recently pushed a bill to block state appropriations to any college or university that divests from Israel. I mean, if you want any chance of winning Michigan, I would think that would not be your guy, but he is a popular governor and she wants to win Pennsylvania. And because she has no real ideology except career, who the hell knows? But this personally also pushing aggressive corporate tax cuts. That's a Democrat for you. What is the Democratic platform? Like, what is it?
Young people are going to really latch on, and he's not entertaining or a good speaker or
nothing.
Like, I mean, honestly, like I don't like Pete Buttigieg, but I think Buttigieg would be a better choice, even though he's shitty, because she could lean in on identity politics, which they're going to do. He explains, he's very well spoken. He's logical. I don't know. It still might be a pick. I don't know. We'll see.
I know I'm looking.
I think Shapiro would be so fuck you to the base that it's kind of like crazy that they would do it, which is probably why they're going to do it.
Oh,
don't get me wrong.
Sure, of
But
course, yeah, that's what. Yeah, of course.
It's a clear sign that even though Kamala personally wants to win, if she picks him, it's like the corporate people are running the show entirely, because she, for your own interest.
Pat, is that what it's going to take for you to know that? I know you're just,
but
nobody good is going to get near the White House.
Yeah, but the balance of like personal ambition, like she knows what it would take to win, and if you pick Shapiro,
she doesn't
you are
know what it
owned.
To win. I don't think that she knows what it takes to win. She didn't win a single delegate when she was running. She's run away from everything Democrats are supposed to stand for. She's horrible. And I'm thinking, Daniel, when I'm assuming that that's Shapiro, which I did read that about, but I just want to make sure it's not also about Bashir, because I see it's coming after some Bashir comments. But I think that Shapiro is a vouchers guy, like not for public schools, right?
I don't know for sure, so I don't know. I don't want to.
Thank you, Devin. You're absolutely right. Okay, good. Yeah, Shapiro. That's what I thought. I knew it was Shapiro. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't also Bashir, because that would be very sad. I know Zaina's very happy that Bashir doesn't seem to be making the list because he is her governor, and you deserve.
Yeah, but so there was. I mean, since we're speculating now, there was a leaked email conversation. I don't really know, but basically it was the Kamala campaign warning some big group about get your donations in now, because the laws say you can't, if it's a governor, I don't know, something related to if the VP is a governor, you won't be able to donate in the same way as a PAC or something.
Right.
So there's
three governors, right?
Yeah. Bashir, Shapiro, who's the third? Waltz is Waltz? No, Newsom.
Newsom. Yeah, and Waltz and Newsom. That's 4, right? Yeah. So that doesn't really narrow it down that much, right? I mean, I don't know. Some
leaks are bullshit too. Like,
exactly.
Like I said, all this stuff could be to get Buttigieg in there because it's unexpected, and then they're still doing it in Philadelphia because they want his support and the governor go out there and have a rah-rah moment. Like, so none of it is guaranteed, like one way or another at all yet. But signs point to Shapiro.
I think it's going to be Shapiro. They really want to win Pennsylvania. He is a popular governor. And watch all the coconut-pilled former anti-genocide protesters still line up and say, not now. We need unity. We'll push her left after
maybe
every single Palestinian has been slaughtered.
Maybe that's the move, to just force the issue. Like, you got to ditch this Palestine talk. We went with Bashir, Shapiro.
Yeah.
Get over your delusional leftist shit. And they, because you have the hundreds of millions of dollars that the Democratic Party is going to spend online for whatever that position is.
Right.
And so there's a lot of pressure probably on her to pick a pro-Israel candidate.
There is no way that they will pick somebody who will then be allowed to speak. Like, even if they picked Bashir, which they won't. And I don't think Waltz was great. Actually, I think he called the cops on protesters in Minnesota. So, like, I don't think he's great on that. He's good on other stuff. I had something in my brain and it just left me. It was, I don't know.
Is it Shapiro? Well, all I know is we don't have I mean, our democracy here, where we went from Kamala coming out and being giddy as all fuck about getting this nomination. I mean, Biden dropping out.
Right.
I'm going to earn your votes, to like a day later. She's like, well, I earned your votes, even though there's nobody voting for her, just delegates pledging to her. She made phone calls to delegates who are all corporate insiders. I mean, not necessarily corporate, but they're Democratic Party insiders, true believers, basically. And then now we're just going to have, as early as Thursday, tomorrow.
We don't even know her platform yet. And by the way, if you ever mention anything about it, all the politics explainers and Vote Blue No Matter Who shit libs will be like, give her a second. She just got in the race. Okay. Like, like there have only been 46 of these people in all of history.
But the delegates don't even get to hear her platform before they vote. Like, that's kind of like something it feels like us as leftists should be hammering them on.
Nope, doesn't matter. I will tell you, this is shocking. We're about to show a clip of Jake Tapper actually doing a little bit of journalism. Reid Hoffman, it was a longer segment. This is only 2 minutes. Reid Hoffman, I think, just donated $7 million to Kamala, and then vocally to everybody who will listen, which is a lot of people, it turns out, when you are a billionaire, the starter of LinkedIn, and you have millions of dollars to throw any which way. Once Lena Khan, which is the only good part of the whole Biden administration, fired because of her regulations that she wants on big corporations and antitrust issues. And the VP process is actually being headed up by Eric Holder, and the firm that has the most disgusting pro-corporate, anti-union, former Obama people as part of his firm are all heading up who the VP is going to be also, if that's any indication. So
wait, so Mackenzie wasn't available to be fair arbitrators?
I know, I can't believe it. No, it was, I wrote it down because I didn't know. And now I can't find it. I wrote it down on a scratch pad. All right. The firm he
Let's see Tapper doing journalism here.
Just 2 minutes.
I won't believe it till I see it.
All right.
You're pushing the button.
Okay. Thanks.
Maybe not.
Thanks for joining us. So you and other big money donors are giving money to Vice President Harris, suggesting also that she replace the head of the FTC, which impacts policy and the economy. What do you say to somebody who watches this and says, this isn't how American politics should work, rich people getting to buy levels of influence?
Well, I totally agree with not buying levels of influence. I separate my role as a donor and expert. So if you ask me as a donor, I say I'm giving money to Kamala Harris because I think she's the best future president for the U.S., for business, for a bunch of other things. If you ask me as an expert about what kind of Lena Khan is doing and whether I think she is helping or hurting America relative to your anti-merger policies, which are, mostly to bring litigation versus, really solidly grounded in kind of what's going on and what helps American business thrive here and overseas, then I give an expert opinion. But I think donor and expert should be kept separate. And I've never tied the two ever in any conversation anywhere I've ever had.
Right. But I mean, that world doesn't really exist where people say, okay, now I'm talking to Reid Hoffman, the donor, and Reid Hoffman, the guy with political ideas, I'm going to put into the other room. I mean, politicians are human, and if they know that you and Barry Diller and other big donors are giving a lot of cash and want to get rid of Lena Khan from the FTC, they might listen to that more than they would listen to it from somebody in a restaurant.
Well, this is one of the things where I don't ever show up at the White House saying, I think you should do this. I mean, one of the things that President Biden has said to me every time he's met me is I never ask for anything, because all that I'm trying to do is help our leaders be the best governors. Now, if I'm asked as an expert, and, for example, shows like this, CNN, say, well, what do you think is the right expert point of view? I would say, well, here's what I think as an expert. And maybe people will listen to me more. Maybe you'll have me on television because I'm a donor. But I definitely myself distinguish between my role as a donor and my role as an expert.
It is kind of funny that at the same time, Tapper's calling him out on being like, well, obviously your voice is going to be listened to more than a person who just gets to vote.
Right.
And, and he was like, well, just like you're having me on.
Yeah. Obviously, if I'm a big donor, you'll have me on your fucking show to tell everybody to drop her from the FTC.
Money.
I mean, but
the
beauty of that is no matter how you spin that, everybody watches that and goes, oh, he just bought firing her from the FTC. So Jake pushed back enough to get the point across.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
But like, it's so clear. It is just so clear that, when there are still people who say, we'll push her left. Like, if she could be pushed left, she would not have the endorsement of all of these people.
And look, let's say you're right, push her left. Now, don't, if you're waiting to push her left after she wins the election, that's delusional. The only chance you have is to get her to change at least her policy position now, because once someone's elected, they don't change anything. They
go right.
abandon all their pledges. They abandon everything they ever said they'd do.
They do change.
So,
they do change. Yeah.
I mean, once you're elected, you're like, I didn't say I would do that. Fuck off. I got stuff I said I would do that I'm not going to do.
Right.
Why am I going to pick up this new thing?
Yeah. And also, you guys didn't vote hard enough. I don't have a super majority. There's nothing I can do because I have Manchin, Sinema, Fetterman. Okay. So that's a lot of that. Do we want to get into the Trump side, or do we want to move on? It's been an hour and 15 minutes. What do you think? It was
Trump
kind of
side.
funny.
Nah.
I mean, we just have a couple of...
Look, should we show him at the journalist thing today? I watched this whole thing randomly on CNN today.
It's so painful and crazy.
It was amazing. Like the painful part is that Democrats are losing to this guy who shows up at a
Black journalist convention.
Yeah, a forum of 3 Black journalists, but the whole convention is Black journalism. And he spoke for half an hour.
Trump loves his Blacks. Isn't that what he said?
He started this thing out like antagonistic as fuck. And it was like...
And it stayed at that level the whole time.
Yeah. How you don't beat this guy easily, you have to be shitty at politics, which Democrats are. You have to abandon your base. You have to not fundamentally change the lives of Black people and keep promising that you will while saying they're the whole reason you got elected.
Yeah. But we can't do it now. This isn't...
I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country.
There were actually people who started clapping. And yeah, Jenna, you're right. It was Hillary's campaign that started the whole birther thing against Obama.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Biden was like best friends or whatever with Strom Thurmond, and they didn't, like, as Mo said, like, you know, he had plenty of dinners with white supremacists. But okay, sorry, go ahead. I'm gonna stop interrupting you.
Well, I just wanted to add that this we only pulled 2 clips, but like this beginning segment was even worse if we had another 2 minutes of it, because he's just like so openly racist in front of a Black audience with Black journalists. It's fucking crazy. You can't beat this guy. And now, like, you got all these Democrats saying it's over after this thing that he did tonight.
Yeah.
No, this is all baked in. This is moving the needle one fucking iota.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah.
Well, should we watch the second clip?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's only a minute and it's just as like crazy. Yeah.
Follow up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She is always identified as a Black woman. She went to a historically Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that she is...
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask, continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct...
I mean, I've seen it already and it still just kind of makes you... wait, this is just my favorite comment of the whole show.
What?
Stephanie, thank you.
That's fair.
That was really important for me to... I had to wait until the clip was over. It is so egregious that he can talk like that. Holy shit.
Even if he said nothing else, the way he says Black, it's like it's painful coming out of his mouth. Black. Like, it's just like,
is she Indian or is she Black?
Or is she Black? Like, I don't know. It's just so painful. Like, he's so racist. It's just in everyone's face. And to go into a Black audience with Black journalists and be so openly racist and still be ahead. And Kamala's her support with the Black community is going to only fall. It's going to go down because the history of Kamala in California is egregious, and she's not
disgusting. Locking innocent people up, leaving innocent people in jail, jailing mothers of truant kids who were poor and working, laughing about her use of weed when she was locking people up, keeping them in prison because of cheap labor. I mean, like, she is. But
the other part that's missing from this speech is, like, right after that, he rips into the moderator that started the conversation.
Right.
Like, this mic doesn't work. I can't hear you. You guys started this 30 minutes late. And he just shreds her, and he ribbed her the entire 30 minutes. Like,
okay. And so here's the thing. He's disgusting. I mean, he's so disgusting. Most of these people, maybe not those specific people, but most of the people in the Democratic Party, most of these wealthy donors, all that, they all hung out with him up until 8 years ago. Like, they were all friends. So they didn't care about all of his racism, all of the way he treated employees, none of it, right?
Cat hair, sorry.
That's okay. Wow, that is my brain. It's pretty bad. But see, I saw another,
no, I think it's funny that
I saw another comment. I was like, oh, strike.
I think it's funny he's talking about how he knew Kamala, but not on a personal, because they all know each other. It's all a big fucking club.
Yeah, he donated to her, all of that. But here's the thing. He is authentic. He is authentically, like, racist, disgusting, bigoted, cheating the system. Sometimes he lies about himself. Sometimes he doesn't. He doesn't care. He did but it's not scripted. It's his real self. And it's gross, but as you said, it's already baked in. Like, that is who he is. They know it. There's
it's
nobody
baked
who's gonna vote for him before who sees that and is like, oh, now I can't do it. Like,
it's baked in, and he wins points. Look, that was racist, but the people that like him won't see the racism in it. They'll just see that he went to a black audience and he's just himself. He may say things in an uncouth way,
right?
But he is authentic. Versus Kamala, who's deciding her positions. I mean, her history of just trying to say the right thing that people want to hear. So when she talks in circles around, like,
and again, I will say, like, the policies that she enforced did more damage to the Black and brown community in California than anything Trump did to Black and brown communities when he was president. He is disgusting. But that is a very real, lived experience, as the Karens for Kamala like to talk about, that they're going to have to contend with if they think that just because she's of one particular or two particular demographics, that's going to attract those voters, because voters aren't stupid.
And I think there's another piece to this. I mean, a little bit that doesn't get talked about too much, but like, I'm a white guy, so take this with an asterisk or whatever you want to say. But like,
I thought you were Indian all this time.
Black people have seen racism their whole lives, right? So like, they know a racist, they know he's racist.
Yeah,
like most of them do.
Right. Like most white people are.
But that he's gaining, but they're, they're not a monolith as a party, and a lot of people just hate him for his racism, and you should. He's a piece of shit.
Right.
But he had 4 years in office. Biden had 4 years in office. Kamala had a whole 10 years or so in California legislation.
Right.
So, when you look at all that stuff and like ignore the racism is more offensive sometimes to white people than it is to Black people. The tonal racism.
Well, it's just, it doesn't,
I'm just saying,
it's gross, but it's not like you're a material world.
Yes,
and that's
being
what I'm locked in a prison is different from hearing somebody say something shitty.
I'm trying to say that there's rhetoric and there's offensive shit that people say that rubs people wrong, and they can recognize it, and still say they think beyond what they get credit for thinking. Like, they get credit for like a simple version of like, oh, that's racist what he said, but a lot of these people look deeper than that. Is my point. I'm trying to dance around how to say this the right way, but like,
well, they're like, I mean, how is it going to affect your lives, right? Like, does it matter if Trump says, I love the Blacks? Yeah, that's gross. That's something like your old uncle might say who doesn't know how to say words. Also, he's racist, right? Like the Muslim ban and Mexican, like, he's disgusting. All of it. Yes, he is disgusting. But if you do all the same things, plus a genocide, plus you deport more people, plus the kids are still in cages, plus you locked people up, plus the crime bill, plus Coke versus crack, plus Strom Thurmond, like, okay, I don't know. Does it even out, or who's worse? Like,
all we've heard from you, Kamala, is you're going to be tough on the border. So like, that's,
do
that's
not
racist.
come.
And the other thing I got to say about this speech, I mean, this convention, the interviewers were terrible. I mean, granted, they let Trump expose himself for being the racist he is. Hey, I'm Irish. My Irish people don't like hearing white, but so they called him out on his saying that he was leaning into all the racist stuff about Mexicans. It's like he was like blaming the Mexicans in front of the Blacks. Blacks. He was like
black jobs.
The black jobs, and they asked what black jobs were, and he didn't answer. And you should grill him to say those are poor jobs, because that's what he's trying to say.
White people don't want.
And you should say, so they're not taking white jobs then also? Why would you should make that step. Like, that should be an obvious step to put in front of people's faces that they didn't do. And I don't understand why 3 Black journalists didn't do that.
Right.
Not to blame them, but I just.
Yeah, no. Well, because
one of them was from Fox,
because one of them is from Fox. Yeah. What's her name? Harris Faulkner. But it's because they are all, maybe apart from the Fox person, going to support a woman running for president who is basically subscribing to the idea that immigrants are coming in here and ruining our economy and stealing jobs. So they can't say, wait a second, what if we had stronger unions and a living wage, and we could still have immigrants come here, but they would be paid the same. You can't pay them under a table. We would actually have regulations with CEOs and businesses and make sure that they were paying everybody. And the only reason that immigrants can come here and steal jobs is because the managers and the CEO class pay them under the table, pay them less than they would be able to pay, refuse to let them unionize. Like, so if those people were held to account, then we would still, there are plenty of jobs, by the way, and there's plenty of money. We could still have immigrants come here. They could earn a living wage the way we should all be. But like, instead, they're all of these disgusting people are subscribing to the same philosophy, actually. I mean, what you just said is exactly right. Democrats will not call him out on that. They're going to call him out on the phrasing of it, but not on the actual underlying issue of saying immigrants are stealing our jobs and hurting our economy. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously the businesses want these immigrants. They really do.
Because they want to pay them.
Our economy relies on immigrants. It relies on them 100%.
Wait, sorry. The economy for the super wealthy does. Right? Yes. Like, I mean, yes. And it hurt. Like, we need more people here, actually, and we do better for so many different reasons for the economy. But I think even if we could pay people what they deserve to be paid, even if, like, what'd she say that back in 2019 when she was trying to be like Bernie, like, yeah, even immigrants should be have health care. Imagine, even immigrants should have health care. It's such a radical statement, but now she's not even going to do that. Or,
I think we have that clip, but
felons
we're not going to show
vote,
it.
right? Like, but like the truth is, all of these libs subscribe pretty much to the same philosophy that Donald Trump is saying. They would just say it a little nicer, not so much they're not just stealing black jobs, they're stealing poor people jobs. That's what white people, or they would say different, like they would say working class. They would say it a different way, but the general premise, the general like xenophobic, racist, anti-immigrant vibe is shared by all of them. And they're disgusting.
Amen.
They're all disgusting. Okay, let's spin that wheel.
Oh. Phrasing. Sorry. I was trying to make a point, but I couldn't get there in a delicate way. So let's just.
I'm sorry. And wait, Lori, I see what you're saying, but what I'm saying is there really could be more jobs. Like, we need infrastructure. We need all the pipes basically in the whole country to be redone. Certainly all the public schools. We need, fast transit. We need like updated infrastructure, the metro systems. We need mass public transit. Like, we need so many things, but they'll never get to that point. They'll never get to the root cause of why both main parties are trying to pit immigrants against people who are low wage earners in this country.
I mean, it's all they've got at this point, like the inequality is so in our faces. They just need a scapegoat. Like, who else they blame for you not making enough money or not having a good job? I mean, what else do they have? Right. There's nothing. It's
certainly not going to say something to Reid Hoffman after he just handed you $7 million.
Fire that lady.
Ugh, jeez.
Yeah, baby.
Why is it so low today?
Never fails. Wow,
God, I'm really good at this.
Master classic spinning.
Okay, wait, let me close it and spin.
Vanna Charles Lay.
Baby.
If you say it wrong, it's a joke people are going to start.
Oh, did you get it again?
No, but I did get puppets, and I really hope that there's no copyrighted songs in there.
No promises.
Yes.
You weren't supposed to jump.
What did you do?
That was really cute. And wait, I just wanted to, I put them up, but then we kept going to thank Marcel. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Cheers. Thank you. That's
Many
so
thanks.
kind and generous. Thank you. And Daniel, super sticker. Thank you. You guys rock. Thank you so much. I will now fire Pat, Lena Khan. No, whatever you guys tell me to do.
You can replace me if you just pay me $10 a month.
You are irreplaceable. I would never. Okay.
Who's going to pull the puppets that you have to edit every week?
Wait, what did you just say?
Oh, nothing. Who's going to pull the puppet clips for you that you have to edit?
Yeah,
you have to
exactly.
spend an hour of your life editing out of videos.
Need you. No, I need you for way more than just that. Okay. Moving on to more good cheer. The world.
Yeah, what else are we talking about?
So now we're doing Israel, the assassinations these last couple days, it's like every day, Sunday we were talking about, seeing another refugee camp bombed and beheaded children. And then yesterday, Israel had 2 targeted assassinations. One of the leaders of Hezbollah in retribution for the bombing of the Druze camp in occupied land that Hezbollah absolutely said wasn't them, and that most people seem to think were from missiles fired from the Iron Dome. But Israel said, nope, it was Hezbollah. There were some Israeli officials who tried to come to pay respects at the funeral. I think 12 children were killed. And they were screamed at because obviously occupied people aren't fond of their occupiers, who probably also just slaughtered their children. But in retribution, so targeted assassination of one of the heads of Hezbollah. Then yesterday, targeted assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, whose children and grandchildren they had already killed, and he's one of the heads of the sort of the political side of Hamas, one of the chief negotiators for a peace deal, which is interesting because Israel always seems to kill leaders right as they say they're getting close to the peace deal that they've been saying forever they don't want. I mean, I don't know why we keep talking about we're getting close to a peace deal. They've been very explicit. No peace deal. They would rather slaughter hundreds of thousands of people, have World War III, destroy the Middle East, and instead of allowing Palestine to have its own self-determined state. And the U.S. is fine with that, as is Kamala.
We're provoking Iran.
Oh, geez. That's me frozen in the worst.
Freeze?
I did. You handle this conversation. I'll be back for the next puppet.
No, I'm going to you are definitely saying fuck. Fuck. Right there. Israel.
I'll be back. Jesus Christ.
All right, fine. I'm going to show up puppets or something. What do we got? Look, I'll make you the main character here. Fine. Let's see what we got. Oh, this is entertaining. Lila, you got 45 seconds. Lila didn't even see that. I just loaded that shit up.
I didn't even see it, but I know I'm going to have to edit out that music. I just know it.
You think that's like a popular song in Japan?
I don't know.
I think it's Japanese. I don't know, but
I
don't even know what that was. Thank you, Oz.
Thank you. Cheers. Thank you so much. Yeah. I mean, exactly.
Cheers,
Hezbollah
Oz.
bombed Syria and killed Israelis. Why are there Israelis in Syria? And by the way, they hate you. All right.
But just to get back to the basics, Israel is trying to prolong the war. They're trying to provoke more action that pulls the U.S. into a deeper alliance with this, so because we will go to war with Iran. That's where we're at right now. And if you're if you're Netanyahu and there'll be an election in January to replace Netanyahu. and they're going to be mad at him in Israel and replace him most likely with someone more radical. But so he needs justification to stay in power, which is
and not hold elections
prolonged
as if they're
war.
Yeah. So okay, so there were those 2 targeted assassinations, which I don't know how many people were killed in addition to those 2 or harmed. I think there were other casualties. However, what's really interesting, not really, it's just, revealing once again, is if you want to go after these 2 top, Hamas, Hezbollah officials,
they have the capability.
You don't have to kill 200,000 people, destroy all the universities, the hospitals, the schools, the refugee camps, the water processing plants, right? So that's also something that should not be lost on anybody. But that came on the heels of, was it 2 days ago, where a civil war is starting because, there's all these well-documented cases of rape and sexual assault by IDF.
And I think it's 8 or 9 people that have credible assault cases that are being detained by Israeli officials. They're being detained and tried for rape cases, and they released 2 of them, I think.
Okay, but so the only reason that Israel's doing anything about it is because they have to show the ICJ that they are, doing some, where they're going to inspect themselves, right? And make sure.
And of course, the U.S. the U.S. is always there. Our PR is State Department always comes out and says, well, we need to let the due process continue before we go any further. So let's see what Israel finds out about their own war crimes before we do anything about the war crimes.
So they chose 1 case, and we know that there are, dozens just over the last 10 months. Dozens and dozens, but over the last 80 years, we know, of hundreds of cases. this is every accusation is a confession. We know that Israeli soldiers have been using rape, and many soldiers do this. U.S. soldiers. This is a common practice that is disgusting, but sexual assault and rape often happens in war. It is vile, but having used the lie about mass rape as a military strategy by Hamas, or a weapon of war by Hamas, that's been debunked over and over since October 7th, but used by Israeli officials before they even pretended that they got any evidence, which was then debunked. But as it was happening, basically, they're going to mass rape our women, all been debunked. Now, this has been coming out with doctors, Israeli soldiers as whistleblowers. And then, of course, victims who have been released who have major organ damage, some of whom have actually died from their rapes and sodomizing with hot pokers, and women, who've been undressed and raped repeatedly in front of their husbands. On and on and on. They chose 1 case and said that this poor man was raped with a metal rod by the 9 IDF or prison guards at this torture camp. I'm going to say it wrong. I'm going to say the name wrong. Sorry. I can't even find it now. So I'm just going to keep talking. So the police come to take these guards away, and the far right, which seems to be the whole society, comes with Ben-Gvir and other members of the Knesset to riot, to protest, to protect the rapist guards from being hauled away by the police, by the Israeli police. So
they're rioting to release the rapists, basically. And this coincides with the government having a debate, a public discussion that was televised
in the Knesset
about, is there rape? Is it legitimate to insert a stick into the rectum of a prisoner?
Yes. If he is Nakba, if he is Hamas, everything is legitimate to do. And then here comes
war
the
crime.
time.
Like that is a straight, like the most obvious war crime, straight to,
Well, their lawyers said on Monday that their clients acted in self-defense. They raped
in self-defense.
In self-defense. Yeah. So all of that is happening right now. And, each day it's like another atrocity. And again, I don't know, flights are being canceled by American Airlines.
Can't fly to Israel, American, and another two big airlines.
I think United and Delta.
United,
is that, yeah. Canceling flights. They are, I mean, this feels like, it's like the Jack Nicholson moment of "you can't handle the truth" from A Few Good Men. Like, this is what we need to be the only democracy in the Middle East with really difficult neighbors. Is we need to bomb 3 different countries. And then just today they killed 2 more journalists. I think they're up to what,
108 or something,
70 or something. 176. 176. They beheaded a journalist, Ismail Al-Ghul, killed along with his cameraman Rami Al-Rafi in a targeted airstrike. They told him to evacuate. When they were evacuating in their car, they were targeted by an airstrike and killed. So, I mean,
the world sees this, and here we are in the US pretending this is not happening and running on this, and we have to vote for Kamala, who supports this, or Trump, who supports this. Like, this needs to stop. The isolationism that's going to come from, like, the US is going to pay economic consequences for this. Like, our economy is going to tank from us supporting Israel, their economy is going to tank.
Yeah.
Like,
their economy is already tanking. Like, their seaports that are completely, they can't use anymore. They've lost all their ability to use them. They have too many people in the military. There have to be major sanctions, though, from other countries, and that is starting. I mean, even the UK, even Starmer,
the ICJ ruling just opened the whole world up to, like, we were already losing our stature in the world, and the world was sick of us.
Yep.
And then the ICJ ruling just says, hey, you can't support this. This is a war crime. This is an illegal occupation going back 40 years. It's an illegal occupation. And so, like, nothing good is going to come to the US from any of this.
No.
So even if you're just a America first kind of person,
yeah,
like, you should be out there saying, fuck this. These guys need to get us out of this thing. We can't fund this anymore. This is immoral as all fucking hell. Like, we need to get Trump supporters to say this shouldn't happen. Like, we need everybody on board.
Most of the country wants a ceasefire. It's like why we don't have a democracy, right? Like, almost every policy that leftists want, most of the country actually does want. And the only people who don't are the people in the halls of Congress.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
which
Israel
is why
will not be able to survive even economically, or, I mean, if they get into a war with Iran and Lebanon, I think it's over.
But that's why, like, voting for Kamala is not, it doesn't, look, you want to vote for Kamala, vote for fucking Kamala, but it's not helping Palestine. You need to help Palestine outside of political stuff, because our views don't matter to these guys at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty bleak, especially knowing most of the world, most of our country thinks this is awful, wants it to end. I mean, it was the Democrats. It was Karine Jean-Pierre who, in the first week of, after October 7th, said that calling for a ceasefire was what, contemptible or disgusting, or what, like, calling for a ceasefire is disgusting. And they say things like, oh, well, we had to bomb, downtown Beirut, trying to find, one of the leaders of Hezbollah, because they put their military bases in the middle of urban places. You know where the IDF's military base is? In the heart of Tel Aviv. Or, like, I mean, we have police headquarters and whole, FBI, CIA in places where there are civilians. And they say that to make the slaughtering of civilians feel okay for Americans.
For it to have come this far to where the State Department is like sort of defending rape, like, I mean, they're just like, this is such a clear-cut war crime. Here's our own State Department today.
Israeli police detained soldiers yesterday, or the day before yesterday, suspected of raping a Palestinian, sparking protests and so on. Apparently, rape and killing and torture and all this thing, it happens regularly in Israeli detention camps. Does that constitute a war crime to you?
So the reports of abuse are deeply concerning, and we have been clear and consistent with Israel and the IDF that they need to treat all detainees humanely and with dignity in accordance with humanitarian law. We also, I spoke a little bit about this earlier in the week, Said. We reiterate the support that that the IDF is investigating some of these allegations of serious abuse of Palestinian detainees, and that is news that we welcome, and we're going to let that process, and we believe in due process, and we're going to let that process play out.
2 quick points. Now, if proven to be true, that does constitute a war crime, doesn't it?
I'm not a legal expert, Said. It certainly, I imagine it would be inconsistent with Israeli law. And so, of course, that is why we have been clear that the treatment of any detainee needs to be consistent with international humanitarian law.
But just to clarify that, like, you're saying we're going to let the process play out to see if it's a rape by the country debating whether it's a crime to even rape them.
Israel has a right to defend itself. And if that
we are so wrong in the annals of history, like we are so wrong for all of this, and half the US knows it at least, and the government in charge now knows it too, but it just suits our, I don't know what, they're just capitalism. We're such fucking cowards that donors are all that matters, because this isn't helping our interests in the US at all. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's AIPAC. I think it is oil.
It's power. They've gotten power in our government.
It's the same reason we try to stage a coup in Venezuela, right? Like, and we're not even getting to that. I mean, it's like, honestly, again, like, obviously I know if Joe Biden showed up, he wouldn't be making me feel better, but it is pretty staggering that all of these things are happening, and there has been not a word from the commander-in-chief, from the leader of the free world, or whatever the hell. Like, what is happening? That's crazy. What does that signal to the rest of the world?
And how does it help? I mean, not to make it about the US, but how does it help Kamala win her election when she's not talking about this and Biden's not talking about this and they're all ignoring it? I mean, just from a political like perspective of just covering the rat race, like, how is this helping you when you're not, and you're coming out as Kamala,
right? Yeah,
in the face of all this rape stuff, and just both sides, you're attacking protesters at the same time all this stuff is happening.
I mean, these people 4 weeks ago said there's no way that we could replace Biden. Like, they don't have imaginations, and they kind of just believe the thing that they're told, and they all reinforce that for each other. They're not thinking for them. I mean, their only ideology is money and career. That's it. It's just disgusting. And they can't see. I mean, again, like, I know we talk about this all the time, but like, what happens when you disable or kill all of the working class? Okay, maybe as a corporate CEO, you feel like, well, I'll just use AI, but then who's going to buy your products? Like, what, like, at some point you're running out of stuff, and they are only looking at the very next moment, not like five moments down the line.
But their version of looking at the next moment is, hey, we have to fund a lot of cops. Let's build some cop cities. Yeah. Like, first phase is like, how do we protect ourselves from all this shit?
Exactly.
Like,
where are my bunkers?
Like, people are angry. Well, we got to stop the angry people. Not like, how do we make the people less angry? We just have to stop them, lock them up, jail them, shoot them.
Yeah. Good stuff. Really good stuff. All right. Do we have anything happy to go out on, or do we have something else we want to talk about here?
On Israel, happy
No, I mean,
Israel.
no, there's nothing happy about that.
No.
You know, the other thing is obviously.
Well, wait.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, you're going to do the Algerian. Do it.
I was going to push it. Yeah, you called it.
I knew it.
I mean, this is something positive. This guy refused to. He just dropped out. He
trains his whole life and withdraws because he has some integrity. Refuses to compete against an Israeli athlete.
Right there. Hero.
Russia's still not allowed to compete in the Olympics, but Israel is allowed.
A country found by the ICJ to not have a right to being suppressing all these people in Palestine.
Currently
is just
engaging in a genocide, and they're competing there and having the audacity to like yell at strangers who are being interviewed when they say something about the Israeli team. Like,
did we show that clip last week?
Yeah. On Sunday we did. But you know, I mentioned something about it on Twitter, and somebody wrote like, well, then the Americans shouldn't be allowed to play either. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And I do think eventually, as we become a multipolar universe, which we should, I do think that other countries will have something to say about the US being allowed to participate in anything. So, you know,
there will be huge backlash to the US from this Palestinian war. I mean, it's happening. It's going to happen.
It is happening.
All right, we have to cover COVID.
Oh yeah.
It'll be short, but I think we need to. But we should spin the wheel and just
Okay.
Have a shot or something.
Another
and
shot.
We'll knock out the COVID stuff. We'll get you out of here soon, folks.
Okay. Sorry, I am gonna erase this one.
So
I cannot. I know. I'm removing it. 1 second. I'll spin again. 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, I almost put my wine in my shot glass. Oh, look at that. Oh, I hope there's another really popular.
Oh my God, we don't have another puppets.
All right, why don't you just use a timeline cleanse? I'm removing it. Right?
All right, all I have is a childish one.
Okay, good.
Immature. Up and up, socialists. Get out there.
Where's JD Vance's couch when you need it? That's a lot of energy that needs to get expelled somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, we did a whole show on COVID with Julia Doubleday on Sunday, which was great. But just to keep, you know, we just want to keep it in
we'll run through this real quick for people still here.
All right.
The numbers,
they're up from last week. Shocker.
What? Up? No.
Maybe people should go vax and relax. We are not vax only people here, as you all know. We mask in public indoors, but we're also not anti-vax. And this study had 46 million people.
And the important part, it's not just like this study. This is another study, but 46 million tops like all the studies. So this whole heart attacks vaccines cause heart attack stuff. No, they don't. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but mathematically it's like
you're more likely to get a heart attack or a stroke from being infected with COVID vastly more than with the vaccine.
And everywhere right now is seeing a spike in COVID everywhere, pretty much. Like it's not There's no like random, oh, it's a little summer burst of COVID. Like, no, we have a massive wave going on right now. Ontario, Canada, this is just one example, but like, do you see that spike on the left, that gray area?
On the right.
That just,
Wait.
sorry, the right.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. That just happened. And this is when Ontario is stopping reporting.
It's like as high as their highest spike.
The highest spike. And that's been reported in a lot of neighborhoods. I think San Francisco is at the highest they've ever been.
I think New York. Really
all kinds of places.
Yeah.
So is the media reporting on this at all? Are they at all saying like, holy crap, guys, you know, like it's really high? No, nothing. Zip. And this is the left failing at their jobs fucking miserably.
It is really, I mean, it's like, it's don't look up. It's climate. Nobody's talking about that. It's war. I mean, it really feels like everything that they said about Trump, which I agreed with, it was like one assault after another. It's like, oh my God, like on a normal news, week, this would take up days and days, but we just kind of keep catapulting from one thing to the next. We can't even talk about an ongoing global pandemic. What's happening else?
So just real quick, we'll just bump through some of the Olympic people.
Yeah.
The Olympics are getting bombarded with COVID. Like we knew this would happen, but it's hitting the elite athletes. So this whole idea of like, oh, it only affects like, the sick and the vulnerable.
Yeah. These are people
everybody.
in the best shape of people in the world. And there's no protocols, no protection. So they don't even have to test negative before competing again. They can just hang out with everybody, as this guy did. Petey, is that his name?
Adam Petey tested positive for COVID after getting a medal. And here he is after the medal, basically giving Princess Anne COVID.
She's now tested positive. Yep.
And let's just keep going with the swimmers. This is just the swimmers. So that went on to American Nick Fink.
And as you know, this account, J.R. Fear PhD, who's a COVID cautious account. She's great. But it does seem like it could be a strategy, right? Like how to fell your competition.
David Johnson,
another swimmer.
Luke Whitlock, swimmer. Finish, Maddie Matson, swimmer.
Well,
and this one is not COVID related, but like this is what all this ignorance fucking does to people. Yeah, there's going to be a little E. coli. So I just try to increase my E. coli threshold.
You don't want immunity debt.
Myself.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, like not washing your hands after you go to the bathroom and stuff like this.
Lick the toilet paper.
Yeah. I don't even use toilet paper anymore. I'm just licking
your hand.
Yeah. I mean, what?
This was so disgusting, and they didn't even say what it was because they never do. But another plane grounded after crew and passengers vomiting because of a biohazard from a passenger. So listen, if they're going to talk about vomiting and not the biohazard, I mean, what? Did his head spin around and fall off? No, it's like diarrhea everywhere, obviously. And we know COVID affects the gastrointestinal tract. And I mean, who knows what any is, but like the last time something like this happened, they put the plane down. They didn't even do like a deep clean, remember? And then the next guy gets on, puts his cat carrier bag underneath the seat in front of him. And when he brings the cat out, he's got feces and blood on his hands. And that's when it was revealed that there had been a similar incident like this on the inbound.
Yeah.
Flight.
These are the same airlines that forced the entire world. Well, they forced the US to change their COVID policy to make it so a 5-day isolation was the norm.
Yep.
But people need to understand capitalism drove all these changes with COVID, not actual science. We went from 15 days to 10 days. And the airline said, oh, no, 5 days. And then the CDC is like, oh, okay, 5 days. And now we're looking at Olympic athletes literally not isolating with fucking COVID, giving it to the fucking Princess Anne, whoever the fuck she is in the UK. I don't give a fuck about you if you're a princess or whatever.
But I mean,
You
again,
didn't
it's
earn
like
your
the thing
thing.
you're talking about, the bunkers.
Not
right?
isolating.
Like, how are the wealthiest people not protecting themselves? Like, there is such deep levels of ignorance with this virus. I guess they just think that, they have the best doctors in the world. I don't know, but it's crazy. All right. Is that our COVID thing? Oh no. Hey, guess what? There's hope yet that maybe Netanyahu will come down with COVID, because it seems like, actually, I don't know. Was Ted Lieu at that?
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Yeah. So he has COVID. But here he is, because everything has to be a dig. I recently tested positive for COVID. I'm vaccinated and symptoms are not severe. I want to thank Donald Trump for being a big lead believer in COVID vaccines and starting Operation Warp Speed, which is his, attempt to make fun of the MAGA crowd. But the truth is, Trump did do the Operation
accidentally
Warp Speed.
did the thing that we should be doing that saved his life. But like, okay, just a reminder, I know everybody knows this, but like vaccines, maybe they're cover you for 3 months or so, as Julia said last week.
Yeah.
You have some protection. You're better off, like, get vaccinated, all that stuff. But like, you got to mask and avoid people that are sick, because even the latest vaccine does not protect against the latest strain, because we're mutating this virus so fast that we got like 10
behind.
Yeah, there's 10 strains floating around too. So like, whatever, we're never going to keep up with this. But that doesn't mean like you want to get it more. You want to get it less. Always get it less, because they don't have treatments for this stuff.
Yeah. And the brain fog is brain damage. I mean, fog sounds kind of like hazy and fun. Like fog is like, oh my, every night when I have my wine, oh my God, this mosquito. It's not fog.
3 months,
brain damage.
but 3 months is not immune. It's not 3 months of protection from the virus either. It's just 3 months of protection, provided you get the right virus in front of you, which is fucking unlikely as all hell, because the virus is running rampant and mutating like crazy is the point. But please get it anyway. But
yes. I mean, I'm a big petri dish. I've gotten all of them, but I mask all the time. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you to our viewers. You guys are amazing. Hang out with us twice a week now. We so appreciate you. Thank you to our super chats and our members. You guys are awesome. We will vanilla oil. All right. I'm going to try it. That sounds good. We are so grateful to all of you. We are going to go out on probably another moment that's going to get us flat. But this is from, I think, a very
Kehlani?
Kehlani, a recent appearance on NPR's Tiny Desk concerts, which is when musicians just play without being auto-tuned, acoustically.
Yeah, and sorry, it's not music, it's just her speech, but appreciate her for
speaking out,
what she has to say here. So
cheers, everybody. We'll see.
That's how you use the platform. Instead of DJ Khaleesi, who fuck that guy. Just want to put that in here.
God, yeah, I know.
He was showing his ice cream refrigerator off while he has said nothing about Palestine. It was like Kamala,
Nancy Pelosi moment.
Nancy Pelosi moment. Big time. Anyway, cheers, guys.
Keep punching up. We'll see you on Sunday. Cheers.
See you.